Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Port of Port of Spain opens its full container terminal extension. A new police post opens in East Port of Spain to enable the reduction of crime. And 300 new vehicles to supplement a revised and revamped rapid response unit. Thank you for joining us. An expansion of the Port of Spain is expected to generate increased maritime traffic within Trinidad's shores. This comes as the port opened its full container terminal extension. Transport Minister the Honourable Stephen Cadiz expressed the expansion project as one geared at increasing national revenue and trade profits.
Trinidad and Tobago's ideal location in the Gulf of Paria will play a critical role in boosting the shipping industry. This as the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago commissioned some additional space at the Port of Spain docks as part of its terminal expansion project to make way for the housing of additional full containers. As a result, the port will now be able to welcome larger ships and increase not only its storage but handling capacity. Transport Minister Stephen Cadiz says this will position Trinidad and Tobago in a competitive place as it is now able to welcome increased volumes and new maritime business partners.
Trinidad and Tobago could in fact become a strategic and very, very important commercial location for the Western Hemisphere. And that is what the intention of this government is to do, that is to examine that. And I know they probably have reports on every shelf in some office somewhere with all of these various reports. But just to look at it, it tells you something.
So far, stakeholders in the maritime sector have already expressed interest in doing business with Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Cadiz describes this as a step forward for trade in TNT, as this means an increase in revenue and earnings for the national economy.
Here it is that we have this gem, and we need to be able now to polish this thing and to make sure that we take full advantage of what we have. So today this is just part and parcel of it. I looked at the ROI, and apparently if it is that we work our maths, we do our math, we could actually pay back a $46 million investment, which is what you're sitting on here now. If we got all the traffic, the 500 TEUs coming per annum, we would be looking at revenues in excess of $75 million on a $46 million investment. So I think that the port, without a doubt, Sharon, the port is definitely moving in the right direction.
The project has been one in the making for some years now, as there was a dire need to free up some space at the port. As acting CEO of the port, Trudy Gill-Conlon says, cargo coming into Trinidad will now have additional offloading space.
After doing due diligence, it was realized that the revenue that could be generated from additional full containers would make this investment feasible. At that time, the existing Shed 9 operations revenue was a mere 41 TT dollars per square foot. Putting empty containers would have raised it to $67 per square foot. However, the potential revenue that will be generated from full containers is $350 per square foot. The figures speak for themselves. We began actual preparation for the demolition of Shed 9 as far back as 2010, working out the logistics of moving staff and cargo to Shed 10 and auctioning aged cargo.
The Port of Spain port is said to occupy approximately 142 hectares, with 61 hectares used specifically for cargo operations. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
In other news, Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissassa has made good on her promise to return to East Port of Spain, where she officially opened a new police post to enable the reduction of crime.
On June 28th, 64 Duncan Street was the scene of pain and tragedy as a 6-year-old lost her life in an early morning fire that caused severe damage to several apartments. Then, a few weeks later, there was another incident in which a 16-year-old was dragged from an apartment located at the same building and shot 15 times. However, on Thursday, the site was one of hope and new beginnings as Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissassa SC officially opened the newly converted building. 6 weeks prior, the Honorable Prime Minister visited the area where she listened to the concerns of residents who were crying out for a solution to the high level of unemployment, housing issues, and crime in the area. It was then decided that Building 64 would be converted to a police post to ensure law and order and bring comfort and peace of mind to the residents.
We are aware of the rising crime situation in certain places. This community has unfortunately been stigmatized, and with all the wrong reasons. It is deemed as a hotspot area based on the threat assessment and crime statistics. I think this is most unfortunate, as this is a good place with many good law-abiding persons, but at times just a few criminal elements who have made this their area of responsibility have caused havoc via their criminal acts and incorrectly have caused this area to be stigmatized. The opening of this police post will go a long way towards taking away this perception and hopefully turn what has been deemed as a hot spot to maybe a lukewarm spot to hopefully a soft spot in the very near future.
The Honourable Prime Minister, who was met with cheers and jubilation, spoke of the major impact the police post could have on the community and its surroundings.
This new facility at Duncan Street is intended to serve and protect the community, and as many families continue to grow and establish their homes, this station will undoubtedly provide further encouragement and support. Institutions of law and order, such as police stations, ought to have a net positive effect on the surrounding communities. For that to happen, the community must feel ownership of and receive value from the new facility and the services it provides. The people of Duncan Street, the communities at Nelson Street, Charlotte Street, Prince Street, the businesses in these areas will now be more comforted by knowing that there is a police station a few minutes away which can respond to emergency calls. Communities in East Port of Spain will benefit in a greater way. This base can now serve as an early detection and prevention center dedicated to the immediate area and its environs.
The building was outfitted with advanced surveillance technology to monitor criminal activity and suspicious behavior. Meanwhile, a mediation workspace and homework center was also incorporated in the design that would assist the youths of the area and help shape their development. The repurposing of the building came at a cost of $2 million, and according to Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. the Honorable Rudal Munilal, there was no issues during the construction phase.
We have been reliably informed that there were no reports of crime, criminal activity, or any gang-related incidences during the period of construction of this building. I am further advised that during the period of construction, the residents of this community convincingly demonstrated their capacity for hard work and tenacity. They shared a vision for this building and worked assiduously to make it a reality. Conscious of their manifest potency, let us also applaud the residents of this community.
Those in attendance at the handing over function gave their thoughts on the initiative.
I think it's something good, you know. You just need to have more collaboration between each parties, you know, how they're going to do it. And I think that would be a very good thing for them. Even from the smallest child could benefit. And this is what you want in the area.
Well, just having this here, I think it is a great help. I mean, concerning the crime, you know what I'm saying? So I feel great about this.
I feel very good about it. I felt safe. I'm not from the area, I'm from the Beetham, but you know, it goes to show you that the government is doing something. There is working, and there is a betterment in the long run for this government and for the people of the Port of Spain area, and I wish they could do the same thing for the Beetham too.
While many may argue that the erection of this police post is but a drop in the bucket, it's undeniable that this will go a long way in terms of bringing comfort and security to the residents of Duncan Street and by extension East Port of Spain. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
When we come back, community-based organizations urge to play their part in assisting persons who receive state grants. Stay with us. 300 new vehicles will supplement a revised and revamped rapid response unit. The changes were unveiled by both Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissassa and National Security Minister Captain Gary Griffith during the opening of the new Duncan Street Police Post.
The creation of the new rapid response unit is expected to boost the fight against crime. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissassa says these plans are expected to take the form of community policing initiatives, as well as the provision of infrastructure and the relevant technology to aid in fighting crime.
Once police stations are built, the next goal is to equip officers with the requisite resources to enable them to fight crime effectively. It is for this reason government has expanded the police force and invested in modern technology systems. We have undertaken to deal with the crime situation proactively through the formation of a rapid response unit and the purchase of 300 new vehicles. The Commissioner is engaged in that purchase, and that unit, those vehicles should be here on operations. Commissioner, when is it? Anytime soon. All right, so out of the 300 new vehicles ordered, 102 have been deployed, and before the end of the year, I presume all others will be up, and that rapid response unit will be fully operational by the end of the year.
Through the boosting of vehicles and GPS tracking devices, the Prime Minister anticipates a reduction in the time it takes for officers to respond, prevent crimes and catch perpetrators.
What these vehicles, part of them are to be used, deployed throughout the country, so that, you know, when you call, because there's no vehicle, there's a delayed time when police can come to the scene or come to help prevent a crime from taking place. Our plan was earlier this year, we had placed monies into the budget. In fact, Special Monies Commission had moved from one line item to another to allow the order to be placed for the 300 vehicles, 1 or 2 on ground and operational, and we look forward. So by the end of the year, throughout Trinidad and Tobago, not just here, but throughout Trinidad and Tobago, these vehicles will be deployed in a rapid response unit that you can call, and I wouldn't say how long is it, Captain? Well, Captain said 7 minutes, so that's even within 10 minutes. I'll give you a lie-up. Within 10 minutes, we can deploy a vehicle onto the scenes where they're required.
This unit is expected to be part of the National Security Operations Centre, working in tandem with police posts and stations across the country. National Security Minister Captain Gary Griffith says this unit will be operational in 15 regions and has been assigned 77 new police vehicles to respond.
I am aware that many people have said that we have seen this before. Never before have we had a proper rapid response unit. These vehicles will be specifically earmarked in 15 regions, varying from 3 to 4 vehicles based on the threat assessment, based on the area of responsibility and the geography. These vehicles will all have GPS on it. Through the National Security Operations Centre and utilizing systems such as the police post here on Duncan Street, it will ensure that from now on, when citizens have to make a distress call, you can have immediate response to a distress. This will act as a fundamental aspect towards ensuring you have that deterrent. It provides that rapid response, and it will act as a law enforcement mechanism to ensure that if there's a situation that might have been a misdemeanor, a small criminal act before, whether it is 2 individuals in a bar or an incident at a home, to ensure that before it becomes escalated, that unit will be there to minimize that threat.
Lending support to this unit will be amendments to key legislation, which is expected to be laid in the lower house. Prime Minister Persad-Bissassa says these changes will affect crime fighting at all borders.
We intend to review the anti-gang legislation in discussions with the opposition and the Bail Act, and to introduce stronger legislation to deal with witness tampering, witness intimidation, and gangs, amongst others. I want to repeat that the measures we employ will not merely be reactions to the current challenges of crime, criminality, and violence, nor will they be confined to one geographic area, but are part of my government's long-term vision and strategies for transformation of not only East Port of Spain, but also several other areas and communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
These initiatives come even as the police service has increased its manpower through the implementation of a specialized training program for Special Reserve Police officers since June 2012. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
In other news, community-based organizations are being urged to play their part in assisting persons who receive state grants but are unable to fully utilize the resources. The call comes from the chairman of the National Commission for Self-Help.
The National Commission for Self-Help is continuing on its drive to distribute grants to citizens throughout Trinidad and Tobago. This time, San Fernando residents are the ones celebrating the chance to rebuild and upgrade their houses. CEO of the Commission, Reynald Baldio Singh, is asking charitable or volunteer organizations to contribute to the development of the nation by assisting disadvantaged persons who receive these state grants.
We urge the national community, we urge community-based organizations to also come forward to help with the repair of houses for especially the aging population or the differently abled who are unable to take the materials and bring the project into fruition by repairing the house.
Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the Honorable Carolyn Sipasad Bechan, was also on hand for the distribution ceremony. Mrs. Sipasad Bechan says that despite what some persons may think, the grants are not just a form of freeness. She says instead the grants help to promote independence and community development.
The Commission is a program which keeps the spirit of self-help and self-reliance alive. It promotes the spirit of community involvement. It uses the concept of sweat equity. We give you some money, materials, and technical help, but you, your family, your neighbors, or your community provide the labor or sweat equity.
Mayor of San Fernando, His Worship Navi Muradali, is urging the grant recipients to not use the grant as a form of scamming the government, an act he implies may have far-reaching consequences for all citizens.
Use these grants for what they were designed to do. Make sure that when you get the grant, you get the material, that you use it for the intended purpose, because that is very important. Because, sometimes they say it just takes one bad apple to spoil everything. And sometimes, I know they have their mechanisms of transparency, accountability, and of course the audit to make sure that the materials are being used for the purpose. And that is very, very important.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
When we come back, Marissa Dick shines. Sport is up after the break. Stay with us. Trinidad and Tobago athletes continue to impress at disciplines out of the traditional realm of sports contested locally. Our latest world ranked athlete comes from the sport of gymnastics. Here's Wayne Cunningham with more on the achievement of Marissa Dick.
Marissa Dick, Trinidad and Tobago's top female gymnast, is now ranked 50th in the world, the highest ever for a national athlete in the sport. The achievement came during the 44th World Championship in Artistic Gymnastics, held from the 30th of September to the 6th of October in Antwerp, Belgium. The championships was well attended with 147 participants from 59 countries. Marissa, who is just 16 years old and competing in her first World Championships, achieved an all-round score of 49.232, which ranked her in 50th place in the world. The competition was very fierce, with scores going to the 1,000th place to separate the gymnasts. Marissa's most outstanding performance of the night came in her best event, the balance beam, with a score of 12.733, which earned her 38th place. According to Trinidad and Tobago Gymnastics Federation President Ricardo Lushu, Marissa's performance in Antwerp means that Trinidad and Tobago now has a legitimate contender for the 2016 Olympic Games, as well as the potential to make a final at the 2014 Commonwealth Games, the 2014 CAC Games, and the 2015 Pan Am Games. Mr. Lushu said his organization was extremely proud of Marissa's achievements and thanked the Ministry of Sport and the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago for their continued support. The sports company covered the cost of airfare and stipends for Marissa and 3 others from Capital City Gymnastics, as well as the TTGF representative for the World Championships in Belgium. Marissa trains at Capital City Gymnastics Club in Edmonton, Canada, and is now back at the gym with her coach, Romanian Ovidiu Serban, who is already planning to increase her difficulty on all 4 events: the balance beam, vault, floor exercise, and uneven bars. More difficulty means a higher all-round start value. This will give Marissa the potential to score higher, which is needed to break into the top 30 in the world. In 2012, as a junior, Marissa competed at Pan American Apparatus Championships in Medellin, Colombia, and placed 15 all around out of 35 gymnasts. She made it to the final on the floor and vault, and eventually placed 7th on both events. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
We take a break and come back. Stay with us. In an effort to fight crime and encourage persons to become more self-sufficient, the government has launched an Aquaponics project at the basketball court train line Marabella. Attending the launch was Food Production Minister, the Honorable Devant Maharaj, and other members of the Diplomatic Corps.
The Aquaponics program falls under the Ministry of Sustainable Food Production Program and involved 4 ministries, including the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of the People and Social Development. Minister of Food Production Devant Maharaj explained the Aquaponics project and says it was a proposal that was promised a long time ago.
The Aquaponics program is a component of the community shared agriculture program which started earlier this year. We listened to the cries of various communities such as Cashew Gardens and right here in the train line, and we engage with you in this agricultural project in a community that's not traditionally identified with agriculture under this very novel and innovative model.
He said fish reared in tanks produce nutrients that are nourishing for plants. This is channeled from the fish tanks to the plants. The plants absorb the nutrients. The debris is filtered and the cleansed water goes back into the fish tanks. In addition to fish, a wide range of produce can be grown from the aquaponics system, such as tomatoes, sweet pepper, cabbage, pak choy, and lettuce.
We really believe that focusing on this type of people-centered development, coming to you, the people, and giving you an option which is real, which is workable, which is practicable, which is affordable, which is something that you could see you having in your backyard, is one of the methods, one of the tools that we can employ for our mandate of achieving prosperity for all. And again, that's a term that we used in our manifesto document, which we then laid in Parliament, which became part of government policy, which we are in the process of implementing through the length and breadth.
He says it is hoped that this program will play a crucial role in reducing crime in at-risk urban communities by empowering citizens with an opportunity to not only be self-sufficient, but also engage in sustainable entrepreneurial activities rather than turn to a life of crime to earn money. Last month, 15 residents from Laramine completed training in aquaponics, and as part of the project launch, an aquaponics kit was given to the community. The training covered topics areas such as system design, layout and maintenance, fish health and care, plant nutrition requirements, and water quality. Minister Devant Maharaj said the aquaponics demonstration unit used by the County Victoria office has production capacity of 60 to 80 pounds of tilapia in 6 to 7 months and 5 batches of lettuce.
We have taken this approach to ensure that each community shared agricultural project is tailored to the best needs of the specific community.
The minister indicated that for the first time since October 2011, food price inflation showed single digits, reaching 9.4% in April. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.